Alpha down to Bantaya towards Camp Charlie. But the thing is, yesterday's circle was kind of in the middle of all the 3 islands. So do they drop in between? Do they try to snatch boot camp in the last minute? Because we do know, I think KE is always taking boot camp around the area, or maybe even GE in between those teams. But I do want to see if there's any contest coming up from these guys from the initial drop spot, just to make it harder for the teams up there in the top 5, just to stunt down when it comes to their point ranking system or their elimination points.
Yeah, it may be this map, it may be the following match, because in the grand finals, some teams may see it as we have nothing more to lose. Let's just have fun. Let's just try to get the chicken dinner. Let's play a little bit more aggressive. So teams who are eyeing that number 1 spot, they need to be a little bit more careful in the grand finals. That's something that commonly happens in PUBG Mobile tournament. Keeping my eye onto the areas of Paradise Resort, we can see G-Lab and GE around the same area. But
Wow.
okay, this is a very hard circle. This is going to be Camp Alpha, very likely.
I mean, like, I'm not expecting something less today, since yesterday we had a really unique day for all of us, including players, our viewers, and our casters as well. And we're gonna have Heart in Circle all day long, so it's gonna be one direction only for these guys to move upwards. It's very limited amount of space and land to actually play around there. But starting off, we do have a bit of exchange greeting coming up from Moy of Sin and Skyny coming up for Ozja. So they have to part ways here. Realize it's a bit too early for them to actually invest it too much in this fight.
Yeah, because these teams, they are also in the running to get the number 1 spot, so they gotta be extra careful here. Sin, well, if they can come up with a miraculous run, maybe they could be the surprise team. But speaking about surprises, looks like one team got caught out in surprise, and that's gonna be Enigma. YG will be happy to take that elimination point away, but Koopa, he's just behind the hill, so Loki can't get a good shot. Hopefully he'll be able to be picked up by his teammates.
Feels like it might be possible for them, since they are quite in a distance between these 2 teams here. More than 300 meters, if I presume that right. But back to the side of Enigma, Gimme having a bit of a tough start here. I'm not sure if they have the time to actually build up their loot just yet. Around Camp Charlie, we do have West Point Mamba, the team that used to be under the spotlight entirety of second week, suddenly falling off the grace here and slowly try to climb back up in the final day in the last minute to have that last push. KE taking on Falcon. Andrew on the ground already. What is happening for Falcon as well?
I guess it's because like teams like KE, they wanted to push really aggressive onto the Camp Alpha Island, considering that this kind of circle, it may end up on that. And we've seen it time and time again that if the circle is in Camp Alpha Island, you don't want to rotate late. It's very dangerous, especially if there are teams on top of the Camp Alpha mountain. That's where they can block teams from coming in from multiple directions.
If you're a bit too far, it's okay for you to take it a bit too late. Devon, the IGL for KE, taking down Andrew straight away, and it's going to be a first blood. And the first one to get out from this match is going to be one of Falcon members there. A bit too early if you compare it with how they waited in the lobby in the first place. But still, nevertheless, still more chances for them to actually do it in the next 5 maps. But Falcon D2Y down to chipping his last health here. KE with DBS, the top, got himself the head-to-head early on. Might actually squeeze into the FMVP. But end of today, and slowly pushing forward, try to get towards the side of Falcon, but Kai coming up from flank side and pushing it through. What a spray there, getting on D2Y, open up so much opening to the side of the top to push forward here. Cloud will be the next victim on the hands of KE. Kai chasing it out for the side of Falcon. Falcon separated right now as they keep the pressure on the side of KE.
And I like the fact that Kaya is opening up the flanks so they can cover anyone behind, especially the supports. Can see that Cloud is behind. Chenlong, oh man, he's not gonna get out of this. It's just too open for him behind, and he'll be taken out by Kaya. Only one left to go.
Yeah, seems like they're chasing down till the very last member of Falcon here. Chenlong used to play a very long distance and long range fights. Falcon barely hanging on with the top, keep the pressure on the side of the front, but they are losing men as well for KE. PB start to hunting down the shots fired early on the first match, on the first brawl happening in Sunhawk here right now, attracting every single player, every single team around them to actually move towards them as a compass. Those gunfire, those gunshots just gonna keep the magnet of all the other teams to go towards them. Now they have to build this, don't want to extend the fight any more further, realizing there might be the losing team if they keep on investing in it.
Yeah, so and they need to be prepared as well because they made the fast rotation, meaning that their utilities might not be as much as we can see at the top. No bandages, okay. Other utilities, they could be better. So that's why they need to loot a little bit faster after they land themselves onto that island. Most important, the first objective is to get there first, and then you think of the utilities later. That's okay as well, especially if you rotate in that fast like them.
I'm pretty surprised at KE leaving out bootcamp too early on. It used to be their compound to take and play with. We saw how initial drop spots they were here in the first place. Now FOD taking a part of it, and they are taking this as a huge advantage. Just going to camp this one out because why? It's in the center of the circle in the first place. So we do know for a fact that bootcamp is not too far off from Heartin. That's going to be one of the many reasons. But the circle is still the first circle. If there happens to be a hard shift a bit down south in the way, it's going to be right on top of bootcamp. It's going to be perfect for the teams that actually try to take bootcamp as their fortress to defend on, but the rest of the other teams slowly trying to take away from the hands of a FOD right now, including GE. Just try to encircle every way possible to see what's happening in bootcamp and try to check out their perimeters. But KE though, and also a Falcon only leaving with only one member, it's going to be a really tough start for the final day. We do have like 5 teams try to take their sweet time into the blue zone while looting up. They know for a fact that they're furthest away from the circle in the first place. Just take their own time to build up their gears. Yeah,
I can understand why teams right at this point of time take their own time, because with this timing, by the time it's the second circle, all these teams would, if it's this kind of circle especially, all these teams would like expect that, okay, on top of the Camp Alpha Mountain is a key area, there'll be other teams there, and some of the key entry points, there could be other teams. So that's why it's okay to kind of take their time and try to plan out and try to slowly scout out to see like if any other key entry points that they could use. Like from our view, we can see that the key entry point, maybe the bridge on Heartin, or maybe just across Heartin itself, or maybe some of these teams, they might want to go for the boat ride. But looking at the current movement of the teams, maybe not. Only maybe G-Lab if they want to. But I would say that majority of them would just go through the non-boat roads.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 choke points getting into a Camp Alpha in the first place. We saw the fact that the southern part, there's also south, east and eastern bridge all day long. But the south bridge will be heavily guarded by the by the bridge gatekeepers here coming up from Sin, but they might slip their toes in the water as well as Holy Lanja and Moy finally finish off those job players, leaving only one player left. There might be a bit of a scuffle. They're accidentally jumping into the water in the first place, trying to just hike up and slowly trim, just gonna swim over back towards the side of a bridge as leave Sky Nin to hang on to his last breath here underneath that bridge. But we do have West Point Mamba hovering over there as well, so Sen cannot rest. This might be their day to actually farm all those eliminations.
Let's see if they can do that though, because if they want to chase that number 1 spot, they gotta get all they can today with only 6 games remaining, and then that's it, no other opportunities. But of course, on top of elimination points, they have to consider placement points as well. You need a good mix at the other day if you really want to chase the top, especially in their current position.
That's true. Well, Sen is still holding on the chalk points coming up from the southern part of the bridge. West Mamba taking their own time to just reassess the current situation, just to be clear that they might actually get there safely. Michi managed to have an opening for the side of West Point Mamba, taking on Go and finish it off straight away. What a clean execution coming up from the side of West Point Mamba, but Skyne is still underneath there. I'm not sure if anybody noted that one out for just yet. More in the next one. It's supposed to be Sin's match here. They already parked here quite early on, but they're letting this slip through their fingers as leaving only with Holy Lunge at the end of that bridge. And Veek is a bit too far to give extra hand. He got himself in the high grounds. Next is going to be Vipers versus G-Lab here.
Oh, DJ! Okay, he knows G-Lab is proud of him. He heard the footsteps. He heard a vehicle, meaning that there could be a full squad. That's why DJ is not making those moves. But, oh no. I mean, they're at number 2 spot with only a small gap with the number 1. Oh no, GE will be smiling all the way.
Yep, Skynet being discovered by the side of West Point Mamba players just now, just underneath that bridge when they're trying to hover around the crosshair on the side of a Sin team. But back to the side of G Lab, they might be leaving DJ behind. Vipers, DJ is just across them. Scotty, I'm not sure if they actually can see through this camouflage of bush coming up from DJ, but he definitely for DJ can see it clearly as a daylight shining through to the side of G-Lab, but he's not opening fire. There's going to be trigger display coming up from the DJ. But next circle will be hovering around on the side of right side Cam Alpha, which can be comprised of still a little bit of bootcamp area, tiny bits of ruins just on the southern part of it, and the rest is going to be majority of Cam Alpha Island. Now DJ will be going away unscathed, but I'm not sure he wants to open fire the moment they want to leave for G-Lab. Yep, he's going to go for it.
Well, okay, is he? Alright, he can, and I don't think they can challenge him, but I think he should focus on getting onto the other side because he needs to swim across. The good news is that his teammates are already there, so they're like kind of like a marker for him to come over, and they know they're safe inside Harton, but he still needs to move. You don't want to be in the blue when you don't want to be in the water when the blue's on top of him.
And that's leaving Sim player down to only Vic, if I'm not mistaken. Holy Lanju were caught in his process of migrating to a different compound entirely, and now Vic is going to be a tough call for him. We have so many players starting off with only solo squad all day long here. It's going to be 2 of them. One of these 2 have to really play quietly, but KE Kaya will be hunted down, chased down, but he'll be retaliating to a sort of G-Lab here, opening the door for him to actually get a double point. Double down, Kaya, solo, no solo. He can actually do this by himself.
Wow. They jumped into the window at the wrong timing. Kaya was ready for it. No DBS, no problem. Just with an M4. And there he gets 4 elimination points by himself. 5 in total for KE. KE, they want to chase the top.
The top with the DBS. Definitely will hold this fort strong enough, even though they just a duo set of players that's left on the side of KE. And YG are being forced to actually advance to the side of ASKR if they want to get across here, as the Blues will be punishing them quite hard. It's going to be burning them alive, while Loki tossing out the nade just to shoot out SKR players to make sure they slowly open up the path and carving slowly path with YG team caught. Yahiko first, Marcus and Micro Uzi want to go forward, but the Micro Uzi is really hard to clip from this kind of a distance. But Loki just keeps the pressure on with the Molotov tossed it over on the side of Marcus. SKR, they are not in a great spot either. It's going to be Doty taking on 1 second on flank side.
Ooh, that jump shot! And SKR got eliminated. Unfortunately, that's also one of the teams at the top that could chase that number 1 spot. YG, on the other hand, resets. And now, within the circle, they still have time, but it's unlikely they'll get the next phase of the circle. Then, they need to plan how to get onto the Camp Alpha Island.
Yeah, back to the side of top 5. Teams are actually up there, will be targeted by these teams, and they will hunt them down. And definitely today they'll be prioritizing of eliminations than the positions here for most of the team, realizing they need a lot of catching up to do. It's definitely their motivation to push forward here by getting more kills and more points in the bag. Back to the side of Enigma. Koopa, they almost flunk it in early shots, in the early stage, in the first phase of it, but lucky enough they managed to get away unscathed and now getting themselves comfortable in this compound. But it's a bit of a crate hole here. Just have to wait for the other end, those that are actually trying to cross over this river and take advantage of it. But West Point Mamba is actually the run and gun team, taking on APG next.
Oh yeah, APG not landing a single elimination yet, but maybe eliminated by West Point Mamba. But it's going to be Caps. Wait a second, did Caps steal that from afar? It looked like it.
You can do whatever it pleases you in PUBG Mobile. But QB is not pleased at all. No helmet, shredded almost his vest and knocked down straight away. Definitely have no armor to actually shield him enough. Joseph FOD keep tapping onto the side of Caps just to finish off QB. Try to spot and translate that one knockdown to elimination points, but it's quite difficult from this distance. More than 300 meters apart, but back to the side, BG spraying over Vipers, who's trying to climb down those hills to get into the play zone. We stop entirely denying the entrance. Amura making sure, same case for Atwood, they cannot even move forward.
And Vipers is out as well. No points in this round, so they join G-Lab in the same scenario. Unfortunately for that. But however, BG, you can't think about it, BG, they started day one really slow, and then day two they were kind of okay. And now at least for game number one in day number three, not bad, 4 elimination points.
But when it comes for today, the final day, I'm surprised at the momentum in the last match yesterday kind of bring forward to its today here. It's a bit too fast for us, like it's unusual. Coming up from the last song, everybody just want to wrap things over, just trying to go for it, not thinking twice here. APJ moving as BBE getting into compound of Kaya and the top. Now Kaya have to clutch and make another miracle by himself here. Feels impossible right now. He's down to his last health. He needs to get a bit of a reset, asking top to get his covers and support him while he trying to reset himself and recuperate at the back line.
Yeah, not only on the middle house, but all the way to the back house just to buy more time between them and PBE. And looks like Kaya may just be able to do it, but then again, PBE, a full squad versus 2, that is going to be the tough challenge. But look at the circle. It moved down to the lower ground. That means FVE is forced to go down now.
PBE actually being surprised by Raul from the back. That one nade actually knocked down PBE. This is going to be a saving grace for KE at the same time. And PBE switch over their attention to the side of the high grounds behind them as well, because FVE is not going to let them pass by just as easy, because FVE need to go through and they have to take down so many teams including KE and PBE along that side. Monet taking on Molotov with Enigma in this mix as well. Happens to be a lot of crossfire at the same time, different places entirely, and power spotted at YG versus Enigma. Might as well make it his, right?
Yeah, might as well if he can steal it away. Okay, Power secures the elimination, and he has just eliminated one of the top MVP contenders. But Power will be punished. Oh, okay. So it's not going to be FV that gets the elimination point. It's going to be from the other side.
You reap what you sow, APG. They've been sticking their nose into everybody else's business, and now have to pay for it. Last play of APG finally down, but YG can save Monet just now. A bit too late with the blue zone closing. It's burning them quite a bit here. And Loki is still not inside of a safe zone. They have to figure out how to actually get in. There's so many gatekeepers waiting on the other end, including West Point Mumbai. You mentioned about this earlier, Cloud. If you're late, it's going to be really difficult and really tough for them to actually get into the circle. And this is the moment that happens.
Oh yeah, plus there'll be pressure by the blue. And we all know that inside of San Hall, there's a lot more open area. West Point Mamba, they're feeling it right now as Raul takes down Federales. Joseph tries to steal one away, but not able to land those shots. And now we move over to Yangon Galacticos versus GE. GE, the number 1 team now, going up against Yangon Galacticos with only 2 players.
They are on the dominating team as well. We have more than 5 eliminations, quite a number of teams there, including GE, KE, YG and West Point Mamba getting a lot of eliminations. FOD on there then tried to chase up and bring a lot to the tables, and West Point Mamba being eliminated on securing 7 eliminations there. FOD next to be on the board. Across it will be another 5 eliminations on that side as well. YG decided 1 second to swim down. A bit of a gamble, a bit too risky. I'm not sure if it's a death threat for himself, as GE really heavily guarding over that side, not even letting them pick, but at the same time they are away from the circle.
I think he was trying to get away from the team behind. That's why he chooses to just jump down, but of course there's pretty much no way out. Ichi ready with the DBS. FOD now, that came from behind. Loki's the last man standing, but FOD is fully focused onto GE. Loki could be the kingmaker.
You do have 2 support fires coming up from the back line as well. But FOD, Joseph have to mark their perimeters. But for the side of KE, things are going really dim on their end. Looking like they're being surrounded.
Kaya.
The Molotov barbecue Kaya down to his knees as top being finished off by PBE. Mumboy did the work. He's going to rank kick finish off the top. They're placing themselves at 6. Not too shabby for a duo to last this long. But PBE just going to keep it going with the duo. Just going to revive one their teammate. Going as a trio back on the feet. As YG on the other hand, the only team that have 1 player left.
PBE playing as a trio. spraying onto FBE. FBE finding it difficult to come down. It's kind of open there. They only need to play with the slopes. Hopefully they'll be able to get into the circle. But right now they are tanking out the blue. At the same time, now we're down to the top 40s. Raimon trying to seal the deal, and yes, he will.
Raimon trying to finish off roll, and there's one more player in the smoke. Ares make it in. He slipped by. But for how much longer? There's not much structures in between. There's only a couple of vegetations and rocks there. And those rocks were actually saving for this entire game. Down to 4 as VE, the last player. Ares trying to keep the boat float for the entire team. But Ares still secures one more. One player, no, he doesn't care. Still gonna go for the eliminations there. Well, GE already got himself 9 in the bag as Master Ichi bleeding now. Leaving it to Zion 92, West 92 to clutch it for the entire team. Caught FOD for the side of Master Zai. But it's gonna be tough for the side of FOD to get out from there.
It's not easy for Easy. He doesn't have much to play around with. There's Ares waiting at the side as well. So if he exposes him, Ares could gun him down. Or could it be PB or even GE from the other side? But looks like Ares is the one to go down. Rank is going to secure the elimination point. Zai sees exactly where Easy is at. Easy just hanging on to that rock, hoping that circle still favors him.
PB got the numbers. PB got the elevations. They got himself the terrain to play with as well if they just move forward here. But for West, it's burning off by the blue zone. And Easy barely make it in. He got only one rock to take covers with. The moment he step out from there's another rock. It's going to be like, what, 10 meters apart. He needs to stay alive. And to jump over another place and is pretty difficult. He's got 2 teams swarming over. And that's going to be the last play of Easy coming up from FOD eliminated at 3rd place, but next is going to be PBE rushing over to the side of GE here.
Oh yeah, pressure on the PBE because they're on the outside the circle. But Zai takes one down. It's going to be the last man as usual. It's going to be Monboy. But Monboy, did he deny himself to the zone? No, he was taken out, and that means the point is given to their opponent. And here we have a winner chicken dinner for round number 1. Congratulations to that number 1 team, GE.
GE solidify when it comes to their top 3 position. This definitely will shoot up their number 1 spot regardless of how the other team is trying to push up here. PBE, I have a feeling they might end up in the top 3 here right now, as Austria and also SKI and KE got finished off early on. So there's going to be it for PBE. All they need to do is just go for the momentum. For GE though, they're having this bullseye behind their back. So they have to have a really tough challenge to just maintain the number 1 spot since the start of day number 3. They can do it. It's not impossible, but it's gonna be a rough one.
Yep, it is definitely not gonna be easy. Neither it is for all these teams as well. Even for Genesis, the fact that they got this chicken dinner doesn't mean that they are safe now, because other teams could still come back. PBE, we gotta think about it. 2nd place finish is still not too bad.
They got quite a number of eliminations, including GE. I think they got themselves a double digit as well. Quite a number of team. I say the average is going to be 5 eliminations overall. Possibly 5 to 6, 7 teams that might actually secure minimum 5 elimination points. But that also means a lot of teams who ended up with a 0 quite early on. Hopefully none of them actually ended up with a 0, go empty-handed. But I have a feeling there might be a couple of teams down there. But for Genesis Esport, they are the only team that got themselves a number of elimination plus a chicken. That's going to be a lot to actually solidify their placement here. But back to our board, we definitely have to see through about the other teams. But this is going to be Ichi getting the MVP, 800 over damage. We saw a lot of team being a 3rd party in the last minute just now, Cloud.
You know, when I was a kid, whenever there's a naughty boy, or if I become naughty, my mom would always say, oh, you have itchy hands, huh? So this guy has definitely itchy hands to become naughty to other teams with 5 eliminations and 829 damage. And in overall, I'm pretty sure they rank up a good number of eliminations as well.
That's gonna have to. If this one player managed to secure 5 eliminations, imagine the entire team how much they actually secured in the last minute as well. They definitely got themselves double digit. When it was like top 5 or top 3, they definitely got at least 9 eliminations already by then. But I want to know how much PBE secured in the last minute as well, as we're looking over for the teams to watch across the statistics. as FVE, surprisingly, they just ambush people from behind. I'm loving how they play it this time around. Really surprising, really something refreshing to watch on. When it comes to utilities, look at how much PB have been invested in just to get through to that last circle.
Well, just looking at the statistics, the fact that PBE, they were the team that traveled the most out of all, meaning that logically, if you travel a little bit more, you might have opportunities to meet other teams, and you have opportunities to also get those elimination points at the back. But of course, we will revisit the amount of eliminations they got later on as we check out the highlights from round number 1.
But for KE, I have to give them a lot of respect just now. They're starting off really rough with only 2 players. Finally, almost actually clutched it down to a set of PvE, which rushed in as a full squad. Try to clutch it again against just 2 players. That was really a tough fight for KE, but so far 12 eliminations for GE, 6 for PBE. FOD got it 7, and West Point Mamba, even though they eliminated early on with only 1 rank point, but still secure 7. But look at how many teams ended up with a 0. Make it 5 here from 12 to 16.
Yeah, it's scary for Osja Esports and SKR because they are one of the teams that could contend for their number 1 spot. West Point Mamba, despite their fairly early elimination, they managed to still get 7 eliminations, giving them 8 points in total in this round. Not too bad, but because they're a team that a lot of viewers have high hopes on, they need to do a lot better than that.
Yeah, but it's not really easy, especially we do know for a fact for some teams there. This is scary for the other teams because why? GE is really balancing out when it comes to Mirama, when it comes to Wrangle. So if they can dominate the Sunhawk this much already, imagine how they will actually fare when it comes to the map they're really comfortable with, which we're going to head into Wrangle next. So I'm really a bit worried for the side of West Point Mamba, especially they are not that stable when it comes to Wrangle. But for the other teams, Osja, they are pretty okay when it comes to Wrangle, so I have faith in them as well. But when it comes to the gap, here comes the dominating team GE right now, opening up the stretch between the first and second place. I think Osja didn't gain any point just now, and that still maintains that second place. But KE slowly pushing up, and look at how PBE just swap over. They're starting off at 5th place, slowly climbing up. Again, a tie with FOD at 1-2-2.
Yeah, they start off with what? Page number 2 in day number 1, and now they're number 4, and their gap is like 27 points from GE. Now, of course, taking into consideration that GE would also add points, but with a 27 point gap and 5 rounds more to go, I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, but at least PBE, like you mentioned, like, they didn't start off as a second page in day number 1. They actually secured themselves. Oh, was it? Yeah, it's actually a second page. It actually is at second page. Now, speaking of how the initial drag points coming up from the league itself giving advantage at first, in this case, West Point Mamba is the team that actually didn't get a good use of the initial drag point. They were number 1, and now being dragged down, possibly even at second page if this keeps on going for their side. They really need 1 round to turn things around, and right now things are not doing great for them. The second page team started getting up in the first page, even in the top 3 by the end of the day. If this going, I mean, like, this is really tough for the teams that actually really perform in the league itself.
Yep, and of course, if you want to know what's been happening or what's going to happen, make sure you follow us on our social media. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube in multiple languages, whether it's in Myanmar, Cambodia, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, or even the main page itself. Do follow, and don't forget to follow us as well. Cloud My as well as YouTube Gaming. We are also available on multiple social media, so say hi to us.
Yeah.